sides. The first side is called affirmative. The affirmative, when you affirm something, you're saying yes to it. So the affirmative is the one that has an idea towards for something. And that idea can be anything. It could be cats are the best pet. It can be swimming is the best sport. Yeah. It can be anything. And then the negative does not have another idea. The negative is all the negative saying is the affirmative is wrong. The affirmative has a bad idea. So the negative is just crossing out what the affirmative is saying. So it's not saying baseball is better than soccer. It's not saying cats are better than dogs.
Wow.
The affirmative would say swimming, baseball, soccer is the best. And the negative is saying, nuh-uh, it's not. It's not the best. So, the affirmative side has an issue that they're going to be debating. Later on, we're going to be debating an issue about Africa. Today, we're going to practice something else. So, the affirmative is going to say, is going to speak first. Now, when they're speaking first, we're probably going to start you out with a very short speech. And this is the part you should write down. So, we call this first affirmative here. And say for the first time, we'll probably start you out with 30 seconds, and later on, we'll probably move you up to 3 minutes. But we'll start easy. After the first affirmative comes the first negative. There. And that's the chance for the negative to make the arguments. We're saying this is true, the negative saying it's not true because of this. After that, we have a point it's called the cross-examination. Cross-examination, first the affirmative asks the negative 3 questions, and then the negative asks the affirmative 3 questions. And I'm going to talk about what happens inside of each one of these speeches after I give you the overall format. After this comes the second affirmative, and then the final word is the second negative. The affirmative has the advantage because they speak first. The negative has the advantage because they speak last. That's good. In the first affirmative speech, what the affirmative's doing, the affirmative job is, oh, these good note takers. What the affirmative's doing is they are making all their points. They're making their arguments why what they're saying is true. Why it is true. They're saying. The negative, at this point, in their first speech, is going to say why the affirmative is wrong. So they're both going to make points. This is the only time in the whole debate that either side can say a new point. So if the affirmative is saying that swimming is the best, they will say that it makes you strong and it doesn't cause any stress for your muscles, you can't get injured. The negative will maybe make points that weightlifting makes you really strong and you can drown. Who said drown? That's good. I like that. That's good. You can drown. And maybe they might make the further point that that in cold places it's really hard to swim, so you have to do other things. Now, when the cross-examination comes, the affirmative will ask the negative 3 questions. And the affirmative's questions, they have to be real questions. They have to be questions that are actual questions. They can't be things that are statements. And this sounds confusing right now, but when you see it, you'll know a question versus a statement. A statement is something like, oh, isn't it true swimming makes you strong and it's fast and it's the best sport ever and everybody likes swimming? That's not a question, is it? That's somebody stating something. So they have to be a real question. The negative will ask the affirmative 3 questions then. In that time, the other side is trying to trip up the other side. They're trying to make points to expose the weakness of their arguments. Finally, the second affirmative and the second negative, this is the time the affirmative has to attack all of the negative's arguments. They have to cross them out. They have to say, well, can't you swim in a cold place indoors? And doesn't everybody have to know how to swim in order so they don't drown? And isn't weightlifting only for certain people, whereas everybody can swim, like old people and people that are afraid of weights? And the negative's going to, and this is the negative's time to attack the other one. Now suppose the negative spends all their time saying that, oh, it doesn't make you strong, other things make you strong, there's lots of other things that make you strong, this, and this, and they don't talk about this. So they cross this out. If they don't talk about this argument there, that means they agree with it. They totally agree with it. So you have to address the other side's arguments 100% when you deal with the other side. If you don't talk about the other side's arguments, you were saying you were going to agree. So if you're a judge, what you do is like, well, I'm going to give you 5 points for the affirmative is going to win this because the negative didn't talk about all the affirmative's arguments over here. There are other things that you can do that will lose you points and gain you points. One thing you can do is speak very well and be very polite. That will gain you points. If you're rude in the debate, just like life, not that you would ever do that, but just like life, you will lose points. So you always have to be polite. If you make a question that's really a statement, you'll lose points. If you make a new argument down here, you'll lose points. But your number one job is making your arguments and then attacking the other side's arguments. How well do you understand this? Think you got it? It's confusing. Now we're going to do a practice round, and you'll definitely get it once the practice round starts. You will totally understand it once you see it in action. Who would like to be my first? We've got one debater. What's your name, young man?
Tanner.
Tanner, come on up. I know you, but what's your name?
My name's Caitlin.
Caitlin? Okay, I need 2 more. Okay. What's your name?
Son. I said
Son? Okay, come on up. And your name is? Come on up. Okay. Good.
we have 4 debaters.
Okay, that's true, because we have 2 on each side. Now, something I didn't tell you before, that the first person speaks is one person, the second person is the second person. In this part here, both sides ask each other the arguments. You want to do boys versus girls, or you guys want to be progressive?
Boys versus girls.
Sounds good.
Okay, come on over here.